Who here has ever had somebody, in response to a reaction of yours, say, but that's not how you should feel? Okay. Let me rephrase. I'm just talking to the women in the room. All the men, you just don't say a thing. Now, for the women in the room, if we have honesty here, we're going to take a big jump in understanding. The men in the room are certainly going to understand a little bit more about sex, gender. Not sex. I saw some faces go, ooh. No. And the women in the room may learn a little bit more about your experience of what it is to be female in this society. For the women in the room, now this is key, don't answer the way you want to be perceived. Don't answer the way you want to feel about yourself, and don't answer the way you've been taught how to answer in society, okay? If you answer truthfully, emotionally, we're going to take a giant leap here. So for all the women in the room, if you are walking down a dark street alone, and you hear footsteps behind you, how many of you feel at least a tinge of fear? Put your hands up, please. Now, don't look at me, look around. The vast majority of you have your hands up. Now, what some of the men in the room may be thinking is, if I was walking down a dark street and I heard footsteps behind me, I'd feel a tinge of fear too. Absolutely. We can get stabbed, rolled, beaten up, a whole bunch of things, right? But we have different fears. Now, if I just stand up at the front and I say to you, we have different fears, I'm just some joker at the front of the room saying we have different fears. We've got to peel this out. So for the women again, honesty. Not the way you want to be perceived, not the way you want to feel about yourself, and not the way you have been taught how to answer by society. Here's the big question. Forget the dark street, that's hard. If you are at home at night, the safety of your home, doors locked, windows locked, alarm system on if you have one, you are alone, and you hear a creak somewhere in your house. How many of you feel a tinge of fear? Put your hands up, please. Now have a look around. See the number of women with their hands around. Again, the vast majority of you. That's kind of unsettling, isn't it? Because the vast majority of men would not put their hands up. And now if I stand here and say to you, well, you're chicken, you need a backbone clearly, yeah? Prove to me I'm wrong. That'd be a hard one to prove. So obviously those are not the issues, right? But if I ask it this way, maybe we peel out something really important. Is anybody here presently here right now, like a heterosexual here right now with your partner in the room? Okay, most of you are not. We will have some honesty here. This is excellent. This is good. So here's the question. And this works very well for heterosexual women. So for the women who are not heterosexual, my suggestion is when I ask the question, picture for yourself a brother, father, or a male with whom you have lived. And it'll work the same. You're in your home alone at night. Sorry, not alone. At night, doors locked, windows locked, alarm system on if you have one. You are with your male partner. You hear a creak somewhere in the house. You say something like, honey, what was that? And his response is anything like the following. Oh, for God's sakes, you gotta be kidding me. It's just a noise. You can't always. Please put your hand up if you ever experienced that. Look around the room, please. Now, you're in your own home, safety of your home, doors locked, windows locked, alarm system on if you have one. Your male partner is there and you're still feeling tinges of fear. What the hell is wrong with you? Clearly, in this case, you are a bit of a chicken, yeah? It's not that simple, is it? But if I said that, how hard would it be for you to prove me wrong? And if I don't want to hear what you're saying, how hard would it be for you to convince me? On a very, very basic level, folks, women experience something in the society that men don't. And it has a lot to do with sexual assault. You don't have to experience it, just the fear of it. From the time you're this big, you start learning about it. How horrible it is, how terrible it is in the moment, how horrible it is in the aftermath, where to go to avoid it, where not to go to avoid it, who to associate with to avoid it, who not to associate with to avoid it, what to wear to avoid it, what not to wear, how to walk. Lately, I've had young women saying, I don't wear ponytails at night, I wear running shoes if I'm out. As men in this room, we don't learn that stuff. And it doesn't filter into our physiology and into our system. So when you hear a creak and you feel that tinge of fear, perfectly healthy reaction to a lifetime of learning that that's how you should react. Does that make sense for folks? Beautiful. Now here's the problem. You can have that male person in your life who hopefully loves you, same noise, same space, but you'll hear it completely differently. And he'll think there's something wrong with you. You're too chicken. You're too afraid. That's not how you should feel. My hope is he's trying to help you, yes? Does it feel like he's trying to help you? No. What people say and what we hear, rarely the same thing. And so you can have this kind of thing because of the diversity that's involved, whether it's diversity in race, diversity in gender, sexuality. As soon as you have those differences in experience of the world, our tendency is to be self-referential. I know how I experience it. I know how I see the world. That's what it means to me. And our tendency is to project it onto other people and say, that's how you should live it too.